Indiana County, it's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. And we're glad you're with us here this morning on this sunny day. Our conversation with Caralee Gurney is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. I suppose my son's case is really emblematic of what we're talking about with Caralee today. Housing experts say there just aren't enough homes in the United States. My son teaches in Mercer County, about 2 hours away from here, and it was quite the struggle just getting him a place to live so that he could do his job, because there actually was competition. He had to win a competition to live in the house that he's living in for this year. Caralee, that's not all that uncommon nowadays, is there? There's just not enough houses out there.
No, and it's definitely built up over time, and it has, several things have gone into that happening, but yes, we are definitely in a housing shortage right now.
All right, so what's the big problem?
Well, it's accumulation of things, and I would go all the way back to COVID when people decided to work from home and needed more space or needed an office, and so that kind of started the ball rolling. And then you started having shortages of supplies, lumber and things like that, so builders couldn't build as fast or remodel as fast. And so it just really slowed down what was available. And then people started moving cross-country because they thought the grass seemed greener somewhere else. And, so they're coming into different places in droves, and there just are not enough houses.
It really doesn't work out till we say, okay, if I move to this house here, the house I was living in must be empty now. It doesn't work out that way, does it?
No, it doesn't.
We wish that it did, but it's not quite that simple. And there's the whole problem of what people's wants and needs are. Usually it's younger folks looking for a home, and the homes that are on the market might be occupied by older folks, might be wrong size, not outfitted the way they want it to be. Our needs have changed, haven't they?
They definitely have. And, the younger generation wants something different than what the older generation has. So, yes, definitely there's a little bit of complications there.
Our desires for the home in which we live are different, too. I think that less of us want to live in a neighborhood where the homes are all packed together, and more want a little bit of space, a yard, and all of those things. And that should play into it a little bit.
It definitely does. And, it's the more we build, the smaller the lots get, and it is more difficult to find a little bit of open space. Yeah.
So what are our solutions, Caralee, as we think about it? Finding an affordable place where a young family can start out, or a young guy or gal just out of college can start out. Where are their best options?
Well, the best option, first of all, is patience. Eventually something will come up that will work for them, and they'll win. I've got several clients who over the years have made numerous multiple offers, and then finally they get it. So patience is a really big thing to look at. And then sometimes you got to give up something. I always ask my buyers, what is it that you have to have, and what is it that you'd really like to have? And then when we start looking, it's like, okay, what might you need to give up in order to find a house? Sometimes you just have to compromise, and you're not going to get everything you want in the house that you buy, but you might be able to adjust that home later or update something to make it what you want. And meanwhile, you have somewhere to live.
We haven't talked about how expensive it is to buy a home right now, but there is a very big factor in home availability too, isn't it?
There definitely is. The interest rates going up, although it just sounds terrible, they're actually the norm right now in the sevens. If you look at history, we've seen them as high as 18%. So people are having to get over that they can't afford as much as they used to could, but it is helping slow down the market a little bit and making a few more homes available than have been in the past.
Should folks be fearful, though, of the entire process of buying a home? When we think about it, it's such an enormous investment, and when we make a purchase like that, it's going to be something that affects us and really has an impact on us for a very, very long time, maybe for the rest of our lives, and we don't want to get stuck with a property that we're underwater on.
True, and So I don't think they should be fearful. I think they should be careful and make good decisions. So, really listening to your advisor, which is your realtor, is important. They've been in the business, they're experienced, and they know how these things work. They also know, if there's good value in what you're looking at. Oftentimes people are having to pay more for a house than what it's listed for right now just to get it. Your son may have experienced the same thing. Mm-hmm. And that sounds scary to people, but listen to the advice of your counselor. Because if it's a good value and you're going to live there, 3 to 5 to 7 years, you're going to get your money back out of it because housing market is still going up unless something catastrophic happens in our economic system. You're going to be fine. And so don't be fearful, but be careful and make a good financial decision. It is your largest decision probably that you're going to make financially, but it's your homestead and it's where you're going to live your days, and it's also going to be an investment for you. And the investment in a house is usually a phenomenal investment.
Caralee Gurney is our guest here this morning on Indiana in the Morning. Caralee, is the concept of a starter house still a thing?
It is, definitely. I mean, I have some people looking for that right now, and it's either going to be, there's some builders who are building less expensive homes, which is great for people starting out. And then there's, people moving out of those starter homes that are going to be available as well. So, no, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly something that folks might consider as well as they try to find the best solution for themselves. Of course, their needs are going to be different depending upon whatever their situation is. And this applies to renters too, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And now the rents have gone up, definitely. You can still find a rental place, but, and no surprise hearing this from a realtor, but I'm always about you'd rather have a return on your money. And renting, although in some circumstances is the best scenario, but if you can afford to buy a house, it's a better scenario.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be afraid of getting stuck with that. If our job situation changes, we have to move to another city and we're stuck with that house, we shouldn't worry. It seems like it really is a seller's market right now.
Oh, it's 100% a seller's market, and quite frankly has been for nearly a decade, which is not normal, but is how it's been.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, Caralee, was about the idea of flipping houses. Since that has become such a big industry and a lot of folks are doing it, is there a danger that by people having to compete with flippers, that they're losing out on the opportunity to own a home that is going to be on the market again? Say it's on the market for $130,000 now, but somebody's going to buy it. And then flip that thing around in a couple of months. The same house is out there for $230,000 because they put so much money into it, and that prices people out of that market.
It can, and it's difficult to compete with an investor because they can pay cash, and usually someone who's doing cash over someone who's doing a loan might be more desirable for a seller to get a quick close and to know that it's going to close. But again, goes back to the patience, and there are people who want the house already redone. So in that scenario, they're glad to be able to buy something that's already had the work done on it.
Yeah, that's true too. You could get that house at that lower price, but if you got to put tons and tons of work into it, and you're working all day at your job for 8 or 10 hours, then you come home and you want to work on your house a little bit more, and when do you ever get your rest? I can understand
exactly.
That. Yeah, and you might not have the skills either. You end up having to pay somebody else to do the things that you wanted. Well, Caralee, you've had some really good advice for us today. Where do we learn more about you, and maybe you've got more for us?
You can go to the Mariposa Group DFW.com. That's MariposaGroup DFW.com.
Beautiful. Caralee, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day today.
All right. You as well. Thank you.
There's
Bye-bye.
Caralee Gurney with us here this morning on Indiana in the Morning, and it's the voice of Indiana County. WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.